Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. Let's talk about the trial in the matter styled as Idaho versus Kohberger. It will be here before we know it. This criminal case has been open since December 29th, 2022. It's when the Affidavit of Probable Cause, signed by Detective Brett Payne under oath, asking for a warrant to be issued for Bryan C. Kohberger, was issued that day. Mr. Kohberger was arrested the following day, December 30th, 2022. So we're now at the end of April. Monday, which is April 28th, is approximately 93 days until voir dire. Voir dire is the process of jury selection when the jurors who will sit in judgment of Mr. Kohberger will be appointed. Mr. Kohberger is standing trial for the 5 counts that he was indicted on by grand jury on May 16th, 2023. It is a redacted document. The only thing that's redacted is the name of the foreperson, the signature line that appears on page 3. The 5 counts, as we see here: count 1, first-degree burglary; count 2, unaliving of Madison Mogan; count 3, unaliving of Kaylee Gonzalez; count 4, unaliving of Xana Kernodle; count 5, unaliving of Ethan Chapin. In order to determine what we can expect this trial to look like, let's first look at the pretrial and trial order that Judge Stephen J. Hippler entered on October 9th, 2024. And to view these documents and any other documents that are public records, such as the indictment, please plug into any search engine of your choice the term Idaho cases of interest. This should pull up a website that is maintained by the Idaho Supreme Court and that contains links regarding certain high-profile cases in Idaho, one of which is Mr. Kohberger's case. You can find the order, October 9th, 2024, entitled Redacted Order Governing Further Criminal Proceedings and Notice of Trial Setting. Schedules for the filings of motions in limine, motions to suppress evidence, when expert witness disclosures are due, when exhibits are due, when the jury instructions proposed were due, and other matters to prepare this matter for trial. And if you look at under the exhibit section, that is section D, trial materials, you'll learn, for example, that if when you're watching this trial, you see an exhibit that is being presented to the jury or to a testifying witness or both, and you note a red sticker on it, you will know immediately that that is a state exhibit. If you see a blue sticker on an exhibit, you will know immediately that that is a defense exhibit. We know that because the exhibit section of this trial order and pretrial order tells us that. Going to page 1, we see here, voir dire shall commence July 30th, 2025 at 9. And then a couple weeks later, there we see the jury trial shall commence. The jury having been selected during voir dire, now the jury trial can start. August 11th, 2025 And it's going to run through November 7th, 2025, according to this order. So that's just about 3 months. It goes on, inclusive of the penalty phase, if necessary. What does this mean? Well, the jury trial commencing August 11th, 2025, that is also known as certain terms that you've heard about. Phase 1, case in chief, guilt phase. This is when the presentation of all of the evidence that the state has, whether it's testifying witnesses, whether it's exhibits, whether it's things, other matters that are being brought into the courtroom, that have been approved to bring into the courtroom, that's when the evidence gets presented. The state will be required to convince that jury that Mr. Kohberger is guilty of those 5 aforementioned felonies beyond a reasonable doubt. Within this 3-month period, not only will the case in chief be presented, but then if there is a conviction, if the jury comes back and renders a verdict of guilty, then matters move into the sentencing phase. And the only thing that will be addressed then is what will the sentence be? Will it be life in prison? Will it be the DP because the DP is on the table? Those are the types of inquiries that will ultimately happen at the penalty phase, if any, because if there's a not guilty verdict for all 5 of the first-degree felonies, case ends. There's no penalty phase. Next, trial will begin each day, August 11th through November 7th, 2025, at 8:30 a.m. That is Ada County time, wherever you are in the world. There are people that have been tuning into this trial online in Europe, in South America, and the East Coast. 8:30 a.m. Ada County time. Concluded approximately 3:30 p.m., also Ada County time, with a lunch break of approximately 45 minutes, Monday through Friday. Now, the court is saying the parties should be aware, defense and state, there might be some weeks that might need to be shortened, depending on other obligations of the court. So if the court is called away on some other issue, there might not be court on a Tuesday of that week, or court might be ending earlier than 3:30 or starting later than 8:30 a.m. And finally, the judge is saying here, counsel should have sufficient evidence and witnesses ready to go each day to utilize the full day trial schedule. So in other words, if when the prosecution has the floor, which they will first because it's their case, and they call someone to the stand as the first witness and no one comes in because that first witness is on a plane still, circling, not able to land, well, they need to have a second, a third, a fourth, backups. These things do happen. People get stuck in traffic. They get sick. They're delayed in travel from the airport. All types of things can happen. Court doesn't want to hear these excuses. They want backups. Use each day properly and fully is basically what he's saying here. And then finally, we know also that before this trial will happen, there is a final pre-trial conference that will occur on May 15th, if necessary, the 16th, to prepare for this jury trial. The purposes of a final pretrial conference is to do just that. Judge Hippler is going to say words to the effect, is there anything here that I need to be aware of that could prevent this trial from remaining on schedule, such as maybe there's outstanding discovery, maybe there's some dispute between the parties, maybe something new has just arisen, some startling new evidence that maybe the defense has found. Now, this will be a particularly interesting event, I believe, because of what we know will be on the schedule. First, the state was required to produce information to Judge Hippler under seal, ex parte, his eyes only, in camera, having to do with the state's request and declaration that they would be calling members of the Kohberger family to testify as their witnesses against Mr. Kohberger. The court has announced that he will make his decision at or about the time of this final pretrial conference. Additionally, with respect to any evidence that could suddenly be found, such as alternate perpetrators, the defense was already told in a prior order in the in limine briefings that its offers of proof, evidence of alternative perpetrators to Mr. Kohberger, who committed these crimes according to the defense, that information needs to be filed on the 14th of May. And the court had indicated that it would be addressed at the final pretrial conference, and whatever else may come about between now and May 15th. So that final pretrial conference, I believe it will be extremely important to the case, which will start August 11th per this pretrial and trial order. Trial may also go on longer than these 3 months. It's very difficult to predict in advance, but these are the guidelines. This is what this trial is going to look like as we know right now, all subject to change, of course. We're going to continue to monitor the docket for you. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them here. All are appreciated. My name's Kathy. Thank you for joining us here today.